Hey Cupcakes! Today I'm going to be trying out some cat-themed paint by numbers that I picked up from Amazon, and I've been patiently waiting to share these with you, so let's go ahead and get started. So here we have this week's cozy autumnal themed project, and let's go ahead and see what we have in here. So we've got a bag inside of a bag, and this is the expectation for the painting, so keep that in mind. And then here's our paints. There are 20 paints in total, and we have a loose screw, so I can relate to that. But in this bag, we have our paintbrushes and the hardware to hang the painting. For our paintbrushes, we have 3. We have an angled brush that you can see here. We have a round brush and we have a square brush. And then here's our canvas. It is a 16 by 20 unframed canvas, and also it came with some instructions. And since our painting came folded, it's very wrinkled, and so today we are going to learn some life hacks, because if you have a wrinkled canvas, you can iron it flat. So what you want to do is put a towel down, and you want to put the canvas on top of it face down, because you always want to work from the back of the canvas. And then you're going to take another towel and sandwich the canvas between the two, and please don't judge my towel, it has hair dye on it. It was never the same after that one incident. But on medium heat, we're going to take our iron and we're going to walk in small sections for up to 30 seconds at a time. And if you have a very stubborn canvas, you can mist the back of it lightly with water and you'll get a flat canvas, or relatively flat, because as you can see, mine is still a little wrinkled, but I only had so much time, and for me, it was about 30 minutes. So if you have more patience, maybe your canvas will be flatter. But here we've opened our paints, and we have 1 through 6 and 7 through 12 and 13 through 18, and then 19 and 20 and a second 13. And here I am just taping down the canvas so that it doesn't move while I work on it. And when doing a paint by numbers, I read that you should start with the lightest colors first and work your way to the darkest colors. You should also start with the smallest sections and work your way to the larger sections. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm also going to work left to right because I am predominantly right-handed. And while I was doing this, I finished listening to a book called After Oz. It is the last book that Gordon McAlpine wrote before succumbing to cancer. So this story takes place after Dorothy returns home to Kansas, and she recounts her tales of being in Oz, including that of melting an evil witch with water, and the townspeople think that she has lost her mind and they put her in an insane asylum. A few days after the twister, a lady that is disliked by the community is found, kind of matching the description of the melted witch that Dorothy described. And so the townspeople accuse her of this woman's demise. And Dorothy's like, well, I didn't kill nobody, swear. I just melted an evil witch. And of course they don't believe her. So a trial takes place, and a doctor from the asylum actually helps clear Dorothy's name. I thought it was a very interesting concept, considering I had never thought about what happened after Dorothy returned home from Oz. So if you guys have any book recommendations, you can leave them down below in the comments. I actually read and listen to audiobooks quite a lot, so that would really help me out while I'm working on these projects for you all. I actually listen to them while I work on the project and while I'm editing. And speaking of editing, last week a friend reached out to me and told me that my video quality was poor, and so I spent a little extra time on it this time around, so I hope they approve of it. But let's be honest, I'm not working with a $4,000 camera. I'm working with an iPhone 15, a action cam, and an old Samsung camera that my father gifted me numerous years ago. So I'm doing the best I can, and I didn't post that video to be perfect. I posted it because I enjoy sharing my art with people, and I find that I do it more if I have someone to share it with. So I thought, why not share it with literally everyone? That idea, combined with the fact that I love watching art YouTubers, really helped me push it along, because ready is just never gonna happen. You're never gonna 100% be ready for something. So I wanted to go ahead and take the first step, and I appreciate all of the feedback and the support that I've gotten from everyone and everyone who's watched the video. And if you're here from the shorts, I really appreciate you being here as well, because I know those get a lot more attention than these long form videos. So thank you to everyone, no matter how you have made it here. I appreciate you all. But that is enough sappiness for one video, because I want to talk about the other book that I listened to while doing this project, and it was read by the author herself, Samantha Satao Young Bao, and it is called Water Moon. This book takes place in Tokyo, and it is about a pawn shop that most people cannot see. Most people see a ramen shop instead, but when people are feeling lost, they can stumble upon the pawn shop and choose to sell their life's deepest regrets. So the morning that a young lady is meant to take over the pawn shop from her father, she wakes up to find it ransacked and he is missing. So after this, a young man stumbles through the pawn shop door, and he's not looking to sell any regrets, but while he's not supposed to be there in her world, he chooses to go on this fantastical adventure with her and help her complete all of these tasks while looking for her father. So it's a very interesting concept. And speaking of fantastical and magical things, this cat painting is actually giving me heavy witches familiar vibes. Maybe it's because Halloween was just yesterday, or maybe it's because Halloween lives in my heart and soul 24/7, 365, but that's the vibes that it's giving me. I kind of like it. However, it is about this time that I started to feel the same way about this painting that I did when I saw the Mona Lisa, which was the farther away you are, the more fantastical and amazing it seems, and it's got this lore behind it, and it's this wonderful piece of art. But up close, it was kind of underwhelming, and that's exactly how I felt when I would take a step back and look at this painting compared to being up close and actually working on it. So that is something that I noticed. And by no means am I trying to compare this paint by numbers to the Mona Lisa. That is absolutely not what I'm insinuating. I just had the same underwhelming feeling, and I wanted to share that. But this is about the point where I get project burnout. Okay, I've been working on this for numerous hours, a lot longer than I thought it would take, and probably a lot longer than you thought it took. So if you have a guess as to how long I worked on this, you can drop a comment down below with your guess. But I experienced project burnout towards the end, because it's like I've been working on one thing for so long that I want to go ahead and get it over with. I want to move on to another project. I want to see the end result of this one. And it was painstaking doing this pumpkin. I saved it for the end because I love pumpkins, and I thought it would be a nice little coup de grace to this painting. And I ended up just kind of rushing through it, and I was getting sloppy, and I was just using whichever hand I thought you guys could see the best, or I wouldn't stick my hand in wet paint, and I was just trying to finish it all at once. And weirdly enough, I was thinking about the concept of peaking the whole time that I was doing this, because I saw a meme about it, and it made me think, like, who determines that? Because I've never once thought, oh, I've peaked myself. I know people who, start careers later in life, or they start a business because they turn their passion into something and they become successful. Or some authors don't even, find their signature style until they're in their late 40s, early 50s. And I just think that we never really, oh, I dropped my paintbrush. Gotta clean that up now. I do that a few times actually. Anyways, back to peaking. I just don't think that it's a concept that we as people should put on others or ourselves, because you never know. Like, even if you think that you've peaked now, you could surprise yourself later on. Or if you are doing successful now, you could fall behind. It's not guaranteed, okay? Life is strange. But anyways, oh, I dropped my paintbrush again, but I am nearing the completion of this painting. So let's go ahead and take a look at it all together. I kind of feel like I need to name him. I named Peter the pumpkin last week, so if you guys have any suggestions for a name, let me know. But if you're wondering what happened to the other paint by numbers, well, I did attempt to do it, but this is what the paint looked like when I went to do it. So I couldn't do it. Maybe I'll come back to it one day, but that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.